What is economic sociology? Economic sociology is the study of how economic activities, such as production, trade, and consumption, are deeply influenced by social relationships, values, and institutions. While economics mainly looks at the logical and mathematical side of markets, economic sociology focuses on the human and social side. It helps us understand that economic life is not just about money, prices, and competition, but also about trust, power, culture, and moral values that shape how people and societies function. Economic sociologists believe that every economic decision, whether it is buying groceries, hiring workers, or investing in business, is affected by social norms, traditions, and networks of relationships. For example, when someone prefers to buy from a local shop rather than a large supermarket, it is not always because of price. It may be because of loyalty, personal trust, or community connection. These human elements cannot be fully explained by economic models alone, which is why sociology adds a deeper layer of understanding. In early societies, economics and social life were not separate. People exchanged goods through barter systems, shared resources, and lived in communities where cooperation was more important than competition. Over time, with the rise of capitalism and industrialization, markets became more complex, and social relations began to change. Thinkers like Karl Marx, Max Weber, and Emil Durkheim explored these transformations. Marx focused on how economic systems create social classes and conflicts between workers and owners. Weber emphasized the role of culture and ideas, such as the Protestant work ethic, in shaping economic development. Durkheim, on the other hand, studied how division of labor binds people together in modern societies despite their differences. In modern times, economic sociology studies topics such as globalization, inequality, corporate behavior, informal economies, and digital capitalism. It examines how social networks and institutions help or restrict economic opportunities. For instance, when a person gets a job through a friend rather than an open advertisement, that is an example of social capital at work, trust and connections that have real economic value. Similarly, microfinance organizations depend on community trust to lend small amounts to poor entrepreneurs without traditional collateral. Economic sociologists also explore how culture shapes economic behavior. In some cultures, people value collective success over individual profit, while in others, personal achievement is seen as a measure of worth. Advertising, consumer trends, and branding all rely on shared social meanings. A brand like Apple does not just sell devices, it sells a sense of identity, lifestyle, and social status. Understanding these patterns shows how economy and culture are deeply connected. Another important aspect of economic sociology is inequality. Economic differences are not only caused by talent or hard work but also by social structures such as class, gender, and ethnicity. A sociologist studies how these structures limit access to education, jobs, and wealth, and how policies can be designed to promote fairness. For example, women in many societies still earn less than men for similar work, not because they are less capable, but because of long-standing social and institutional biases. Similarly, racial or ethnic minorities may face hidden barriers that limit their participation in certain industries or economic sectors. The global economy has also become a major subject of sociological analysis. Multinational corporations, international trade, and financial markets connect people across the world, but they also create new forms of dependence and inequality. Developing countries often serve as cheap labor markets for wealthier nations, leading to social and political challenges. Sociologists study how these systems influence migration, labor rights, and cultural identity. They also analyze how technology and the internet have transformed work, such as the rise of gig economies and remote employment, which blur the line between personal and professional life. Economic sociology also helps in understanding crises such as recessions or inflation. Instead of seeing them as purely financial problems, sociologists study how fear, rumors, and loss of trust spread through society, affecting consumer behavior and social stability. When people panic and withdraw money from banks or stop spending, the economy worsens. In this way, collective emotions and social behavior directly impact economic systems. Today, the discipline continues to grow as economies become more digital, global, and data-driven. Sociologists are exploring how artificial intelligence, automation, and cryptocurrencies are changing the nature of work and value. They question who benefits from these innovations and who is left behind. They also examine the ethical and environmental consequences of economic growth, pushing for models of development that are not only profitable but also sustainable and socially responsible. In summary, economic sociology teaches that the economy is not an isolated machine that runs on mathematical rules. It is a living network of people, relationships, and values. Money flows through trust, cooperation, and cultural meanings. When we understand these social foundations, we can design fairer and more inclusive systems. Economic sociology encourages us to see beyond profit and consider the human connections that hold the economy together. If you found this explanation helpful and would like to learn more about sociology and human behavior, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more informative and thought-provoking content.